I got Smarties in my mouth, but
That's fine. You're gonna have to deal with it now.
Edit, fix it in post.
That's right. Fix it in post. Did you mute your phones, kids?
My phone is muted, and you know what? Putting it away.
Good job.
My phone is muted.
Putting it away.
Okay, that's good. Alright.
Welcome to the We Can Fan Club, where Smarties are the lifeblood of existence.
They're also called Scaries.
Amen.
They actually had like they had Kit Kats too, right? Like they called them just like Kit Kat, as in like a cat. And they had
A
one
black cat. And
Yeah.
It's bad luck.
You sure you don't
What are you
want
peddling us on for? Everyone can hear you chewing.
I'm
That's
eating
fine.
Smarties, so that's what I'm peddling you guys on.
But yeah, what was the other ones? They had like ones for Arrow too. It was like
Yeah,
Staro.
Staro. Coffin Crisp was my
Coffin
favorite.
Crisp. That's a good one. I never knew that.
My
one.
favorite bar and name.
Yeah? Coffin Crisp. That's cool. I thought Kit Kat was just cheating.
A little bit, yeah.
Because like they didn't even change the name it was spelled. They just
really?
No, they didn't. They just put a cat
That's
on
neat.
it, and I was like, oh come on, man! Like you didn't even try that time.
Guys, are you...
I didn't realize how hard it was to carry this with no silence. Only two people. Jacob, please finish chewing.
yeah, the names of candies are pretty weird, huh?
Please listen to our podcast.
Brought to you by Audible.com.
Oh,
All right. So
yeah, you have a couple topics for us to talk about, Jacob?
I have some pretty.
Oh Jesus! I'm just seeing you. I'm not looking at what's on your phone, but I'm just seeing you scroll through words. And words.
He's gonna read us a story which will take up half the time, and then for the rest.
Is this gonna be an English essay?
Well, I've wrote essays about all these topics. So.
Oh my god! Well,
Oh my god!
now he's just gonna look really good in front of us.
So I'm actually gonna start off with like my lightest topic,
All right.
and
You mean
it's
your
titled.
latest topic?
Yeah.
No, that was a question. What do you mean your latest
My
topic?
lightest topic?
Oh, I thought you said latest.
No.
Like
lightest.
I most recently thought of this one.
I hate to go on a tangent already, but it's pretty impressive. You just finished like 5 boxes of Scarios.
Scarios?
Scarios.
Scaries.
Stereos.
Scary.
The new cereal. It's just Smarties. Put it in milk.
Just put it in milk.
Part of a nutritious breakfast.
No.
All right.
Allegedly.
All right.
Definitely not a part of the nutritious breakfast.
Absolutely not. It's like part of like the breakfast back in the 50s when they just like were just like, here's pure condensed sugar.
Yeah. And put it in milk.
Shovel it in your mouth.
Put it in milk.
That's gotta be the next.
Is it cereal? I don't know. Put it in
That's
milk.
gotta be the next
Try
one.
it.
Anything in
Welcome to the
milk.
Weekend Podcast. We're put it in milk.
Put it in milk.
That's
I'm
it.
sorry. Continue with your topic.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my current education is based around like communication theory and the theory of just basically communication. I know it's like cheesy to mix those words around, but
Yeah.
it's what I'm doing. So what I do on a daily basis is I'm like presented with communication in everyday life, and there's different like frameworks we think about it. So my first topic I want to talk to you guys about is about the narrative paradigm theory. So that means that
Okay.
Maybe you're breathing getting more apprehensive. Like there are going to be terms and definitions and multiple choice.
Okay.
so what this theory means is that all communication takes the form of a narrative. It, like when you have a conversation, there's a start to the conversation. So there's in the beginning, and you don't necessarily say that, but you start it, and then you have some point of the conversation,
the reason why you're talking,
right?
yeah.
And that will either be like the climax, and then the resolving action is just like resolving your point. So it's basically just following a narrative. You start and say, oh, well, yesterday I went to class, and then in class someone punched me in the face. Like that's just like a story, right? It follows that narrative. It's pretty arbitrary. So, on that part, I was just thinking about some of my like favorite narratives when it comes to entertainment.
Okay.
So, like, what is one of your favorite elements of storytelling across like all the different genres of entertainment you use? So, like video games or music or movies. Like, what are some of your favorite stories?
Ooh. That is a good
That
one.
was a long fucking road to take to get to what's your favorite story.
We had to find out what telling a story was called.
Yeah.
Quinn.
I'm
He
sharing, I'm
take-
sharing
I
my
thought you
life.
were gonna be like, is every sentence secretly a story? And
Well, we're gonna get to that.
okay.
Just a good way to call him out on that and be like, alright, I'll bite.
That was one complicated goddamn way to ask that question.
Yeah. Good stories.
Good
Yeah,
stories.
my mind is immediately going to like movies with plot twists in them,
Yeah.
and I guess in that vein, I really liked Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That
movie
is
has
a
a
good
great twist, and then it's got just one of my favorite endings. Honestly,
Yeah. No, I remember. I think. Did we watch it together?
I feel like we might have.
I think we did. I think we watched
I think
it.
like me, you, Connor, and Zach probably watched it.
Yeah, and like I think it was the first time. No, I think you've seen it before. And then
I had seen it before.
Yeah, you had seen it before, and then you got us together to watch it, and then I watched it, and I was there with you, and I was like, "Oh my lord!"
Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies I saw, and I was like, "This is so good." I have
Yeah.
to talk about it, but I can't unless someone sees it.
Exactly. For me, man, there's even if you take it from like a video game aspect, there's a lot of games that I qualify that are like, these are really good games. You'll play them once and love them, but you'll never play them again because you already know it, and there's almost no point in doing it again unless you want to experience the narrative again. But for the most part, it's you know what's gonna happen. Maybe that makes it better. I don't know, but there's like that one story, Alan Wake, about a guy. You know,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, Alan Wake is really good. Where it's just like this guy who just wants to. He has writer's block.
Yeah.
And it's a very like Stephen King-y story actually.
It's really
very
strange. I don't know
Stephen King.
a lot about it, but like I know that Alan Wake is a pretty narrative driven story.
Yeah, and like I just like games where you can. I'm gonna get so much flack for this, but like Five Nights at Freddy's, like there is almost none narrative in games like that, and I'll be the first one to admit I absolutely love Five Nights at Freddy's. It's a guilty pleasure because I was one of the first people who went on Steam Greenlight and saw it when it was first going out, and I seen it and I was like, this sounds like a great idea, and I backed it on Greenlight. And when you back things on Greenlight, you get a discount for if it comes out. So when I got it when it came out, I played it and I was like, this is a really good game. I started telling my friends about it, and then everyone and their mother made a video about it. And then it became a huge explosion thing. The point I'm trying to make is the way they tell the story and narrative, there is none. It's all context clues just hidden around, and I love that kind of stuff.
That is really cool.
Where it's just like you just kind of have to make up your own thing. And even to this day, the creator has not given a timeline. He's not given anything. It's just people trying to figure out bits and pieces. And I love that.
Yeah, I like cryptic storytelling,
Yeah.
especially in like horror stuff. Like even PT, even though it never became a real boy.
No.
Even the like clues and stuff over like the radio and the things in the house and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Like I like stories that are kind of like you fucking figure it out. Like
I think for me, when it comes to like video games, I'm usually not a guy that's gonna be like attracted to a game that is following one storyline, and like once you start the game, it's just gonna follow that, and then it's gonna end, and then that's your experience. For me, I really enjoy games that I create my own narrative. So like role-playing games, like Fallout 4 wasn't like a fantastic game.
No.
But I've just started replaying it again just because I didn't get to all the factions and all the choices I can make within the game within like the couple playthroughs that I did.
Yeah.
Right. So constant like immersion in the story and being able to change that story.
Yeah.
Skyrim, like
Exactly.
Elder Scrolls games, like they're the pinnacle of narrative for me because you control it
Yeah.
to an extent. There's like you're walking a path, but like there's all these
Yeah,
extra
for the
paths you
most
can walk
part.
around and then get back on that path.
I really liked. I like Fallout games more than Skyrim or Elder Scrolls anyway because they have a karma system.
Yeah.
So you could still do like those different factions with different people, but act a completely different way with them, and they'll treat you differently too. So
Yeah.
I really like those ones as well.
Yeah. A little tangent I had with this topic is
Okay.
like
I've written
when
it
it
down
comes-
here word for word.
yeah, basically. When it comes to like stories that you tell people, what's one of your favorite stories from your life that you like enjoy to tell people?
Okay.
Sorry, no.
I told you I'm starting light.
This is light, Quinn.
All right, I'm gonna tell a story, and I'm gonna decide whether or not, like later, if we should keep it or not. So this is a recent story. I'm gonna try to speed tell it so we can like cut it out real easy. Okay.
Okay.
So, as you know, I switched from going to university to going to college for sound production and stuff, and
Yeah.
like the dudes in there are pretty chill, and it's pretty sick. Like, you know, making friends. It's pretty like easy breezy, lemon squeezy, right? So like, stop saying.
It's beautiful cover girl.
And so after the story happened, I was talking to them about the podcast. So I was like, guys, can you help me like come up with some topics? You know, just get some takes or whatever. And I mentioned the story, and they said I should tell it. And you know, I'm still on the fence about it, but you know, I guess if they think it's cool, like fuck it. So this one day we went into class, technical report writing, basically English about toilets. You know,
Nice.
Fantastic.
so we went in. It was like me were there. I know for sure. Maybe I shouldn't use names. Don't know.
You're
Anyway,
late now.
there were three of us there. I was on like the right side of the room. There was another guy in the middle, another guy on the far left. And then after we got there, a fourth guy showed up. I'll call him the letter W.
Okay.
Anyway, so the letter W.
Okay, so Will.
Sure, Will. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Instead of just a variable, just use
Yeah.
a real name. Anyway, so Will came in after us, and he just kind of sat down. And we just kept talking. And then the fifth variable, we'll call him
Variable.
variable.
Oh gosh.
All right, so variable comes in, and he's got Dairy Queen. He's got food with him.
Nice.
You know, because like whatever, whatever. You got to eat.
Was it cool treats or soft eats?
A little bit of both.
Nice. All right.
You know. Anyway, so he laid on the table, and I assume he went to the bathroom because he just left. He didn't say a word. He just walked in, food on the table, walked out of the room.
Cool.
Anyway, so the guy on the far left makes a joke like, "Aha, he left his food," and then like got up to go eat it. You know, like a goof.
Yeah.
He sat back down. He was just like, and I was like, ah, nice. And then I tried to think of a goof, you know, just like get some back and forth going. I was like, you should take his spoon, so he has no way to eat his fucking ice cream.
That is savage.
And then he was like, you should take all this shit and just hide it somewhere. Like, we're in an empty classroom. Just put it, like, under a desk or something. Just hide it somewhere. Hide it behind the curtain. And so, this is where it gets fuzzy. And by that, I mean, I assume these ideas must have had to meet in the air above Will, the letter W.
Yeah.
Because he got up from his seat and sprinted across the room towards the Dairy Queen, and he dove his hand into the ice cream and just unsheathed the spoon like it was Excalibur, threw ice cream everywhere. Like there was a scoop on there, and then when he finished picking up the spoon, it was gone. Like it wasn't gone, it was still there, which is important later. He like unsheathed the spoon and then sprinted back across the full classroom over to the guy on the far left. He started like trying to give him the spoon, to which like the guy on the left, he was like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you trying to give? I'm not gonna eat it. Like, what is this?" And so then he took the spoon and he started to like look for a place to hide it. Like, because you see, like, this is what I'm saying. The ideas must have met in the air. Because I said take the spoon,
But now he's trying to hide the
and he
spoon.
said hide everything. So he got hide the spoon. So he takes the spoon and he like shoves it up behind the curtain, jimmies it around a little bit.
What?
And then the guy left is like, "We said hide everything or take the spoon." And he's like, "Oh." And then he runs across. at this point, this is the part where I start like counting down the seconds until
It's like a
variable
timeline.
comes back, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for variable to enter the room. He never does. He does.
Wait, what?
He does after this whole thing is over, which
I thought you meant he never came back.
which will become more outrageous because he runs all the way back across the classroom, puts this. No, I forgot a deed. Okay, so he runs back across the classroom, bumps into a desk, and drops the spoon straight onto the floor. There is a blood smear all across the floor of ice cream. This blizzard, like, it's ruined. Like, the spoon is dead. He just picks the spoon right back up, runs over to the ice cream, and just without a second thought, he just rams that right back in there. That floor spoon is in deep. It's in deep. And then he picks up everything, like the guy on the left said, and runs back across the classroom to the window. So he's commuting back and forth like no tomorrow. He brings the food back over, puts it behind a curtain, like steps back, and we almost say in unison, "That's perfectly visible." Like, it's not hidden in the slightest. It's a box of food that says Dairy Queen, and you can read all the letters on it. Like, it's perfectly in sight. It's not hidden at all. But at this point, that's not.
At this point, you've come so far.
That's so far from the point.
Exactly.
And so, just when we think the madness is over, Will goes back to his desk, grabs his book bag by the sides in both of his hands, like, you know, like, I don't know, like it's a child.
Yeah.
Like it's Simba, and he's gonna hold it up to show everyone. And, like, this, upon retelling the story a couple times to different classmates, this is the part where I look back on it and I'm like, this is where life paused.
Yeah, that's
And a man in a suit came up to me and said, "Hey, Quinn, what do you think's going on here? What do you think he's gonna do with that?" And I was like, I don't know. If I had to take a guess, he's gonna use it as a wet floor sign. And if only that were true. He took the book bag by both of its sides, slammed it down onto the ice cream, and erased it like a pencil mark.
Way!
He soaked it up. His book bag was a magic eraser.
Oh my goodness!
He just ShamWowed that ice cream out of existence. And he just sat back down at his desk like nothing happened. The three of us that were in the room before he showed up, our minds had exploded. My brain was purely
Was this in the matter of what, like a minute and a half?
Yeah, like maybe like a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Oh my god.
What an experience!
Right? And then walks back. This is a good part. Walks back in, sees his food immediately, obviously. Like, it's like you walk in the room and it's right across from you under a curtain a little bit. Like, you're like, there's my
That was
food.
sick. There it is.
Like, you didn't even have to look at the table where he put it to see that it was gone. He was like, "Oh, it's gone." And he's like, which you know, like, which obviously the point of the story is a spoon that touched the floor is now going to be in his mouth for the rest of the day. But for him, he sees the food and is like, "You guys are bad at hiding food," and the rest of us are like, that is like a tenth of the story. That's like a tenth of. It's on the list of events that happened, yes, but it's like
it's
the
not
last
the most
one.
important one. Good lord.
So the rest of the day, we still had a couple classes left, and like including this one and beyond. So like we just watched him eat that blizzard. We just watched him eat the crap out of the blizzard, just waiting for him to like grab his stomach and be like,
Oh god.
"I don't feel so good." Like, we were horrified.
Oh my
We were horrified. But it was amazing.
That
Holy crap.
I did not expect such an answer. I'm so happy with that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So that's my story.
Amazing.
That's a story I love. Like, in the future, that's gonna be a story I love to tell over and over.
exactly.
Oh, man.
It's gonna be like our friend's fireworks story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man. That's a good story.
Yeah.
John, do you have any like stories that you like to tell people?
I went to work today and I picked up my radio and one of the people were using the radio and they said they were like, "Is it working? Can anyone hear me?" I said, "Sadly." That's the most important thing that happened to me today.
That's a great story.
That's the most interesting thing that happened to me today.
Thank you, John.
That's a perfect story. Beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
Follows the theory perfectly.
Yes.
For me, one of my favorite stories to tell is back when I was taking Math 1000 at university, a calculus course, and my professor was insane. He was a special kind of crazy.
I believe you.
And one of his things to engage the class was like if he saw a student that was like texting in class, he would point them out and say, "What are you doing? Are you texting your mom?"
Oh,
And yeah,
hey up.
zing. And so on this fateful day, he spoke to a student and asked that same question. And at the same time, I had my phone out. And he then asked me the exact same question. "Are you texting your mother?" And my first response was to say, "No, I'm not texting my mother. I'm texting that guy's mother." Those were the first words out of my mouth. A lecture hall of about 300 people exploded.
See, I imagine you didn't even look up. Like you were writing a message, and it's like really important, and you're like into it. And he's like, "Are you texting your mother?" And it's like, "No, it's that one." She's
It was kind of like that. I was like, I had just finished that text, and the words just came out of me like verbal diarrhea, and I thought to myself, I've never been more proud and ashamed at the same time, because I didn't know this guy. I didn't know like who.
His mother could be a very nice lady.
Yes,
maybe he's got two dads. Who knows?
exactly.
Yeah, right?
I had no idea. The words just came out of me, and it was just a moment of, I don't know what I should do now. Should I just get up and
Should
leave?
I roll with it?
Do I have to apologize to him later?
I didn't. I just didn't.
I don't know if I would either, but yeah. I mean, you did grace him with that beautiful zinger. That might be.
Man,
That might be worth it.
it's definitely one of my favorite stories, because it just elicits so many different reactions. It's either you're a terrible person or that's amazing.
Thank you for letting me be a part of that. I think I remembered a story I liked. It's probably when you said like favorite story to tell, I was like, I thought about it again. I was like, you know what? No, it's definitely when I went to go see Metallica in Toronto this year.
That does sound pretty sick.
It's actually like, now thinking about it, is probably my favorite story to tell. Absolutely.
It sounds like a much longer story than your day at work today.
Yeah.
It is, but I'll try and keep it short. So I went to see Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold, and Volbeat in Toronto a couple months ago in the summer. And when we went to go see them, a bunch of my friends went too that lived in Ontario. So when we got there, we bought our tickets, but sadly we all got pretty much like displaced around. So once we got our seats, we like moved around, like talked to each other, and then like sat back down in our seats. So the only people here were me and my friend, and I don't mind name dropping him because I'm sure he doesn't care. So me and my friend Daniel are sitting next to each other, and so we're looking at the stage, and if you know how an arena stage like seats work, we were sitting right next to the aisle. So Daniel's sitting right next to the aisle to me, and I'm sitting right next to him. In front of us, a couple rows down, I'm going to lay out a groundwork for what was happening around me, because I, honest to God, think the stuff that was happening around me was a million times more interesting than the show.
Well,
and it was an amazing show, but goddamn, the shit that was happening around me was like just the cherry on top of it all. So a couple rows in front of us was this really tall kid. He was an alien, essentially. Had gangly arms, really long and lanky. A couple rows ahead of us.
So it's the Slender Man.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, basically.
So this kid had like a ripped up shirt, was sleeveless, and he was just like during the whole show, he would be standing up, and like rocking out, throwing his arms everywhere, and he's really tall.
Casual Friday Slender Man.
Really, like he was really tall, and you couldn't see anything. Like everyone behind him, all the rows, couldn't see shit because he was just like, no.
Yeah. I'm picturing very clearly a cartoon of this happening.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm picturing arms
so
that are
that's
like wiggling
happening.
at like a certain way.
I'm just picturing John like sitting back, like just frowning, just like a perfect half circle frown, and Slender Man is up a few rows, just
wiggling.
Now, to be fair, as a side note, he was up during Volbeat, who played first. He was up for Avenged Sevenfold, who played second. And as soon as Metallica came out, he sat back down. And I was like,
why?
First of all, screw that guy.
Well, I think the light that shines brightest burns out the fastest.
Exactly. So that guy was sitting in front of us.
Saying?
I'd never heard that before, but I like it.
Yeah. One row ahead of us were these two college guys who looked like they were just enjoying the show like me and my buddy were. The row next to me, there was like 8 seats. And they were all empty. And they were empty until Metallica started playing. Like, just emptied. And they were half good seats, so I was wondering, like, are these just empty seats? Or, like, are anyone actually going to show up? That'll come up in a minute. So, behind us were 2 Russian guys, didn't understand a word they were saying, but they loved what was happening. They loved every second of that show. Dying. They were like, yeah!
Oh my god, no way, fucking awesome.
So, throughout the show, they would like they took their shirts off and like they were like throwing them around and shit, and like there was a couple times when Metallica, like when they walked out, they grabbed my shoulder. They were like, "Yeah, Metallica!" And I was like, "Yeah!" Because you're just in the moment. You're like, "Yeah, all right, man." So they were having a time. To the left of me across the aisle, a little bit farther down, was this one dude who was gone, passed out. He missed Volbeat. He slept through Volbeat.
Wow.
He slept through Avenged. He slept through like 2 bands and was just like, I can't convey it in audio, but he's basically just gone, conked out.
Just done.
So there was a couple times in between, like Volbeat would play and there'd be a little intermission, and then Avenged would play a little intermission. Metallica. So during the little intermission between Avenged and Metallica was this guy passed out. I think the long gangly alien's dad stood up and went over to the guy and woke him up, because I could hear him say like, "You don't want to miss this show, dude, right?" And he's like, no I don't, because he woke up and he's like, "Yeah, man, you gotta see this. You paid money to see this, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course." So the dad,
of course, man.
So the dad sits back down and the guy's there and he's like looking straight forward, and after like 5 seconds I'm looking at him, I'm like, wait for it, gone.
Yeah.
Passed back out. At the time, the 2 guys in front of me started throwing popcorn and tried to get it in his mouth. And I think everyone else around us realized what they were doing, and we were all silently cheering him on. Yeah. Because you could, like, he would throw one kernel and it would bounce off his cheek, and you could kind of feel like a, shit.
Yeah.
It's a collective sigh from the city of Metallica fans.
Oh man, it was great.
Was this during the show?
No, this was during,
because I just pictured like James Hetfield is like shredding out a solo, and he looks into the crowd and watches everyone sigh. And he just gets real upset, like,
no, this is all during like the intermissions. So all that shit was happening, and all this was just all culminating into like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, all this stuff happening around me is just hilarious, until Metallica started playing, and then we all had a good time. It was great. The guy was still passed out. I think he slept through the whole concert, honestly.
Wow.
Which is pretty sad. Gangly Long Arm Alien was now sitting down during Metallica's playing. Me and my friend Dale were standing up, and we were rocking out the whole time. The Russians behind us were now getting escorted out by police.
Whoa.
And I do not know why, but they were being asked to leave, and I kind of like looked back and was like, the hell's happening here?
Wow.
And I didn't ask, of course, but I was just like, alright, I guess they're just leaving then.
Maybe these are their friends.
Yeah, right? Like, maybe they are.
These are friends.
So,
Comrade.
finally, like, I think 2 songs into Metallica's set, about 8 dudes show up and stand next to me where the empty seats were. And I was like, oh my god. And I looked at the guys who were coming in, and they were like, hey guys, how's it going? And we're like, hey, we don't know you, but like, what? You missed a lot of the show. And they're like, we don't care about the other guys, we only care about Metallica, right? And I'm like, I mean, I paid to be here, so I think I take it.
Just met, but where have you been? I've been worried sick.
Exactly. So they showed up, and I was just like, all right, cool. So we started listening to Metallica, and then the guy next to me like lights up a cigarette in the show, and I'm like, that's not allowed, but I don't care. Like, it's a show. Who gives a shit?
Was this outdoor? I forgot.
No, it was indoor. It was in the Rogers Center.
Okay.
So we were standing there, and then, like I said, I'm the one seat over by the aisle. So Dale's on the aisle seat. And I'm standing there, I'm listening to, I exactly know what it was. It was Master of Puppets. And I'm like, Master! Master! And right before we were about to go into the chorus, an arm comes out and grabs my arm. And I look over, and it's a really heavy-set security lady, and she's looking at me, and she's furious, and she's like, what are you smoking? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know anymore.
Your voice falls down your body, you're like,
Exactly. I was like, and so she reached over my friend to go to me. And not him. I was like, what the fuck? So I look over, I'm like, what the hell? The guy with the cigarette next to me is like, what the fuck's happening? He looks over, and the missus notices him, and I don't have anything in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was drinking a vitamin water.
hey, whoa. Vitamin water. Hey, whoa. I just get my nutrients. I got my vitamin water. My nutrients. This pomegranate.
Well, like beer was like $8, and a vitamin water was less. So, and I was parched. Whatever.
I mean, no.
Judge me.
I'm just saying, it's not a very metallic a beverage.
It's not. I'm
sure they do drink it, you know.
They gotta stay hydrated. They gotta stay, like,
Yeah, shows every night.
So the guys next to me was just like with the cigarette, like, what the fuck's happening over there? So the missus looks at him and points her finger at him, and she just goes, "You put that out right now, your ass is out of here." And in the most metal fashion, during probably classic metal's anthem of Master of Puppets, he looks at the lady, throws the cigarette down, stomps on it, and just flips her off. He's just like,
frick.
And the missus just leaves, and I looked at him, I was like, whoa! That was amazing! Yeah. And then after that, we left the concert, and I was like, I was just blown away because the concert was great, but then everything around me that happened was even better. And that's my story I love to tell.
That's exhausting.
It is.
That's an experience.
I went and slept like a baby after that. Pretty sure that's how I got tinnitus too, but that's just besides the point.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah. So we're about to shift gears real hard here.
Yeah.
I liked story time though.
Yeah.
I thought that would be like a good way to fill up time.
Yeah.
So the next idea that I want to discuss with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Today I was at the local Coffee Matter shop on Kingsbridge Road, and there was another article about the 2016 Donald Trump election.
Oh man, it's like the year anniversary now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's pretty close to the year anniversary. I don't know if it's the actual year or not.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about, I don't want to say how it happened, but I was thinking about the course of events that led up to it, and it led me back to the theory of rhetoric.
Oh yeah.
So basically, Aristotle makes this theory about what rhetoric is, and rhetoric is essentially just composed of logic, emotions, and ethics. We can use that term. So I thought about the way Donald Trump campaigned, and he used the theory of rhetoric, in my opinion, incredibly well.
Oh yeah.
Because
intentionally or not.
Yeah. he threw away logic.
Mm-hmm.
We can safely say he threw away logic.
Absolutely.
And played on ethics and emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't want to say it was backed by the blue collar man of logic. I don't think is very present in the average American's life, but ethics and emotion, and we can say ethics involves nationalism and patriotism and all those things that would fall under there. So he played to that, and he was incredibly successful, whereas his opponent Hillary Clinton used a lot of logic.
Yeah,
right?
she was running like every other person
other political person before, and in her history she followed that same pattern. And I think another part of the election was that people were tired of politicians, per se, and they were saying, "All right, frig it, let's give
him a shot.
Let's give Donald Trump a shot." And I don't think that was the best decision.
No.
And I have close family friends that live in Florida, and one of them said this was the worst election he's ever been a part of, and he's been in the States for all of my life, and I'd say a large portion.
So he was there for like Bush, Reagan.
Oh yeah, I think he was there for the first Bush.
Oh wow,
definitely. So yeah, I would say he's more American than Canadian, just from time experience in the States.
And full disclosure, we're Canadian.
Yeah. Have we ever talked about our nationality before? No, we haven't.
A bunch of white kids.
Yeah, we're a bunch of middle class white children.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
We're about as white as they come.
Yeah, really though. So what I want to basically talk about when it comes to this theory is, do you think that rhetoric is only important to politics, or is it important to, just basic, coercion? I don't want to say coercion or manipulation, but, the process by which you get something across. Do you think rhetoric is in everything we do, or is it reserved for, like, important moments where we use this idea to get our ideas across?
Well, that's like taking the idea that, like, I know what you mean. It's not exactly coercion. It's just that you're trying to make someone understand your point of view.
Yeah.
Because coercion just makes it sound like I want you to think the way I think. But that's not the point you're trying to make.
You want them to see what you see.
Yeah, but then there's the point across. Then there's the point you got to make of, like, I want you to see what I see, whether you like it or not.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's just torture. But, like, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
I think
it does. I mean, you can use rhetoric in a way that, like, you're just gonna. I mean, a lot of people use it when they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
AKA Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Used it. He didn't. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he's just a friggin' genius and we don't know.
That would be incredible.
That was.
It'd be alarming.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest.
I actually have a friend out in the States, and she was saying to me, like, I really want, like, if he just wins, if he just comes out, like, during the inauguration, just be like,
fooled you guys.
Fooled you.
Just rips off his mask and is Putin.
I knew it.
I got you this time, silly American. Goodbye.
Like, help you now.
Just puts on his jetpack and flies back.
Now you have no leadership.
Crumble.
Good luck with Hillary.
Dust from done yet.
But yeah, no, I feel like rhetoric will probably, like, again, it's one of those things where you don't even think about it, and I guess that's a really interesting thing that since you're taking this communications course, you don't even realize you're doing half this stuff, and it's like, oh, now you got to think about what you're saying.
I've actually used this theory.
Well, I would say that I'd say it's one of those things you don't realize you're using it, but then when you do, you kind of notice, like, what you already do and how you can improve on it. Because I think for me, rhetoric probably, I don't know if I should say should be employed, because, people use it without thinking about it, but I would say, like, for any real conflict resolution with any weight to it, you probably want to acknowledge those three things, like ethics, emotion, and logic. Like, you can't just use one of them to solve, like, a situation that has, like, a lot of sides to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, like, it's funny because I remember I took a sociology class in college, and I loved my teacher because she was just the coolest in breaking societal norms.
Yeah.
And, like, that's one of the things, I guess, with rhetoric, is that you'd have to, if everyone knew about it anyway, if everyone was, like, aware of that, she would do certain things where people would be like, what did you do today? Right? And she would legit go down the list of every single thing she did that day to that point. And, like, the people would be like, oh my god, like, I just asked that, you could just say good. Right? And she was just like, yeah, but you asked me how my day was going. I figured you needed to know how it started to figure out draw your own conclusion. And I was like, that's cool. She also did crazy things as, like, waiting for students to walk by the side of the classroom, like, just going to class and scream just to see what reaction they would get for her breaking societal norms. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Like,
it was a weird class.
Is that a societal norm? Like, did we all subconsciously agree not to shout at random strangers as they walk by?
That's what I'm saying. It's just like, ha! Ha!
It's just different intervals.
How's your day in detail?
Yeah. And I mean, like, she went into deep detail. She was just like, I woke up at 7:44. I got breakfast. I took a shit. Like, explicit detail of her day. And I was like, oh my god.
Section 1, I got dressed. Subsection 1, I took off my left sock, then my right sock. Just excruciating.
Yeah, essentially like that, but it was pretty cool. I was like, oh yeah, well, that's pretty cool.
Stuff like that, I mean, it gets you thinking in the right way, but if I had to listen to someone describe their whole day in detail, I'd probably want to die.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know? But I do like stuff like that.
Then again, it's a lot easier to say, "Hey man, how's your day going?" than "Give me a brief summary of your day to this point."
Yeah, I mean,
although I can hear some people actually say that.
Give me a general feeling of what you're going on with right now.
I have like a huge amount of respect for things that just come out of left field and make you think of something different. You know, like today, my prof in music theory talked about how, like, in the program I'm doing, you start to think about sound as like a 3-dimensional cube.
Oh boy.
In the terms of that, like, one dimension to it
That's
is
the
like
deepest you've gone so far.
one dimension to the sound cube is like panning. So like what goes in your left ear, what goes in your right, like if you have headphones or if it's in stereo. And then like one dimension is volume in terms of like how up front is it in your face and
bass
how
and treble.
Yeah, that's like the
That
I'm
would
just
be
naming
the,
off.
yeah.
That would be the
I'm
third.
naming off knobs.
Oh yeah, sure. For sure, yeah.
You're
And,
balancing in the
reverb. Reverb,
overdrive.
headphone in, nah. You know, it's like volume is like sounds in the background, and then like what's up front, like the melody and stuff, and then the third axis is like kind of like bass treble, and that like how you like mix stuff to
So I
make.
wasn't wrong.
I have
So then,
never
like-
thought of like sound in a 3 dimension, so that's like really cool. that
Yeah, I
you're
know.
doing
Like
that.
once he said it, I kind of stopped listening because I kind of like took it myself. I was like,
Whoa.
that's a good way, because then it's a good way, like, I guess it's kind of like an analogy, but it's really comprehensive because you kind of get a sense of like, I feel like it'll help you like think about like a song in terms of like what things do you notice like artists put up front and in the background, and then when you go, what do you want to put in the front of the sound and in the back and to the left.
Everything you own on the box to the left.
Everything you know. in the
Quick
box.
tangent, like, do you guys ever like hear about like some fact or idea and you legit like you retreat in yourself
Oh
and
my
like
God.
Yeah.
you just like sit in an
That's-
ocean of thought
You have no
and
idea.
you just spin endlessly
Oh,
of
man.
what that phrase means.
That happens to me at work constantly. Like, you have no idea. Because, like, sometimes I'll just, like, look up stuff on my break or whatever, and I'm just, like, sitting at the computer, I'm like, holy crap. And I'm just, like, sitting there, and I'm just... It's like you said, you're just sitting there, like, absorbing this information and just thinking about it to yourself. It's like you've just retreated into yourself to think about it, because it's so mind-blowing, and you're just like, whoa.
It's like a weird high. Because
Yeah.
you like
It
shoot
really
right up
is.
and you're like, wow, everything is wrong. Then you kind of come down from it and it sucks because you're like, I can't think about anything else the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And it's like a very extreme version of you have something at the tip of your tongue, so you have to look it up right now or it's going to be on your mind
Oh, for sure.
until
yeah.
you do. But that's like, again, that's like a small example. We're talking about like the extreme. You hear something, you're like,
Yeah. Like, I remember I was in one of my lectures and my prof it was in an anthropology class, and she legit stopped the class to start her next point, and she just said, define community.
and you were just like,
And everyone was like, well, it's like the town that you grew up in. She said, but does the town make the community or does the people make the community? And then people were like,
huh.
well, I guess it would be the people. And then she said, so what makes a community related to like a geographical location? And she went on to say that the community definition is completely counterintuitive, because if we just want to say a people in a like area, we can just say a locality,
Yeah.
and like mean a physical spot. But if we want to express community, people in a spot, it involves so much more elements to that existence than just people living in an area. Like the community of Mount Pearl, it's not really a community,
No.
right, per se, because they're not all connected, but like the community of like a small outport.
Yeah.
I had people in my class just defend it because they knew everybody there and they all had the same idea of what it would be, but they
Yeah.
also had a different idea of what it is, because that's just how communities work.
Well, the way I would think of community is I wouldn't think of it as like a town or a place. I would just think of it as like another word for a group of people. Right.
But she even went so far as to say there's often like there is a misconception of community being related to geography.
Oh yeah.
But it's often hard for community to be applied to simply like geography. Like she went on to like use like fandoms, basically, like people that go online or go to certain areas to express an interest in certain things as a community.
Mm-hmm.
But if we were like to give a definition of community, we would all apply locality and geography with it.
Yeah.
Right? And then that would break the definition, because it's people coming from all different areas to meet in one spot and then disperse, but they all still maintain the mindset of community.
It's like to commune. Doesn't that mean like to gather, sort of?
Yes.
You know, so it's more about, I wouldn't say that it's about like everyone being in the same spot, but everyone coming to the same spot.
Yeah,
kind of.
it's like you again. It's like you work in a workplace.
Yeah.
People are like, oh yeah, we work together. We're like a little community.
Yeah.
That's just
I think
that's a dumb way of thinking.
It's just kind of like if you have.
You know damn well I don't like any of you people. We're only here because they're literally paying me to be here.
And I feel like a lot of the geography kind of connotation of community comes from, like, I guess you would say, like, early communities, like, fucking Peothics.
Good choice. They're dead. Not a very doesn't really
way to
hold
go,
water
dude.
right now.
That was just one of those times where, like, a word comes to me and I'm like, you can't, that's wrong.
But you said it anyway.
But then I'm like, well, pick another one, dumbass. And I'm like, I can't.
But yeah, I was in that lecture and she just started with define community, and I just retreated into myself, like, what is existence within
It's weird in those times. You kind of just, someone tells you something very important and they're going to continue on it, but you're like, no, I think I'm gonna stop here and just think about it by myself.
Yeah.
It's almost like the end of a movie where it's like the big cliffhanger or whatever, and you're just like, whew, I don't think about this. But like you have the entire credits to think about it and no real distraction. In real life,
we did that with Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we had to like trace the steps.
We had to figure out
like,
the plot.
When was it a betrayal? When was it a part of the plan?
And she was a triple double.
Are you triple agent?
Triple double agent.
Yeah, it was that, but a great movie.
Oh yeah, no, I loved it.
Movie. Oh, wow!
I just loved every single scene in the hotel.
Oh, absolutely.
That hotel is beautiful.
That had a great.
The art direction of that hotel room.
That would probably be the best movie to watch without sound.
That was like Vaporwave the movie right there, because just the neon. Oh,
it was really well done.
I love the scene where she's in the hotel and she's just exactly like the lamp.
yeah.
It's a lamp with like a blonde lampshade and it's got like stripes and she's wearing a striped shirt leaning next to it, and I was like,
she's a lamp now.
Bastards.
I don't know what Charlize Theron is.
I can't say it anymore.
Where's Charlize?
Oh man. Well,
she is a good agent. No one can find her. It's the last scene in her hotel room.
dressed as a lamp.
She had recently gone to IKEA.
Last scene on Fury Road.
Oh yeah. So far, this has been pretty engaging. I think this is gonna.
I was really hoping you were gonna say tame.
You gonna bust this wide open right now?
I'm not gonna bust it wide open, but I'm gonna give
You gonna drop one of your examples of like.
It's a curveball.
Yeah. Are you
Not
gonna
really a curveball, but I'm gonna get it to a more personal level here now. So the next topic, the next theory that I want to talk about is it's pretty self-explanatory, but also not at the same time, called the social judgment theory. So what that basically means, you probably do.
I think I do.
What this basically means is that in a communication experience, we are all emotionally invested in that experience on a spectrum. You're pretty much indifferent about it. You agree highly with it, or you disagree highly with it. So you're for it or you're against it to an extreme. In this spectrum, it's very hard to be in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And those two extremes are often, they have a causality with emotional investment.
Yeah.
So a light question with that are there things you are invested in that have zero logistical value, but you like are so passionate about?
So so you're just talking about.
I'm just like I just wanted to get like a
Do you mean,
baseline.
do you mean like if people eat the Kit Kat without breaking it in half, they just bite into it like it's a normal chocolate bar?
Yeah, so you're emotionally invested in that, but it has zero logistical value in the run of the day.
Yeah.
Like if you saw that in the run of the day, you would be pissed off.
Yeah.
Right?
But at the end of the day, it wouldn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So that's
I
like,
like stuff like that.
yeah.
Okay.
That's like the starting point of it, right?
People who like Transformers movies. That's it.
Well, the Michael Bay ones.
Yeah,
there are good Transformers.
Oh yeah,
movies.
the first one. That's it.
Oh really? There's only one.
Yeah, there's only one.
Oh, I guess it's the show. Otherwise.
Well, like I guess there's like TV movies, but like I'm talking about like the Michael Bay ones.
Okay.
Right.
They're bad.
So when it comes to
the first one, the first one was like.
I'm not fighting you on this. I'm not even joking. Not a word of a lie. I could have an entire podcast that's 3 hours long, of me just talking about everything I hate about.
Even in the first one, I thought the first one was like.
No. They killed Jazz.
You're right.
Jazz.
You got me
Which
there.
one was Jazz?
That was the like.
Hold up, Optimus, we gotta go! Well, that was what he was like in the original, and then like, I never seen the first movie for like a really long time, and my girlfriend showed me the first movie, cause I'm a huge fan of the TV show, and like the newer TV shows and the comics and stuff, but she only knows about the Michael Bay movies, and she was like, "Oh, Michael Bay one's pretty good." And I watched the first one with her, and I hated it like every second. And I was like, "I hate this movie so much," and I don't want to like tell her because it's like pretty early in our relationship.
Yeah,
I was like,
you're not at that level. I was like, I hate
this. And then like, Jazz died, and I was like, "No way, he's not dead. He's just probably like wounded." And then like the movie's just like about to end, and it's like, "Oh yeah, well, Jazz gave his life for a good cause." I'm like, "No, I'm done."
Yeah,
but
I feel so bad if I hate something that someone shows me.
Oh,
That's
it's
honestly
so
one of my
bad.
biggest fears.
Yeah, because someone goes on and they're like okay, I won't name names because I won't call them out, but
Because it's me.
But no, but if he listens to this, he'll know it's him. So good for him.
Good for him.
So
You know it's him, sorry in advance.
I have a friend of mine who's really into Mass Effect, and like he was like, oh man, he was so excited for Andromeda.
Oh.
Like so, he would every little bit of information he'd tell me about it. He'd be like, man, I can't wait for this game. It's gonna be so good. And then like I played it, and I was like, oh my god, it's really bad. Like it's the worst. And like everyone thought so, and that man was in denial. Like he was like, no, it's not that bad. He would go on saying like,
Poor
oh, but
guy.
it's really good. I'm like,
That's rough though. That's a rough go of it. Isn't
I
it?
know it is, but like I would play the game, and I would get like I would capture things on my Xbox, and I would like have it on my phone. He's like, I'm not having any glitches at all. I'm like, what's that?
Tell me what this
And there was like a weird glitch where I was like running, and I was turning a corner to go in somewhere, and nothing touched. I got stuck on the corner of a door, but nothing happened. Nowhere my body was near the door. My foot was barely touching the door, but the rest of my body was like trying to go. But this one,
You're like Michael Jackson leaning through the door, just like
no, he wasn't even leaning. He was just,
next gen
was just
gameplay.
but he was kind of like
He
he was really trying hard.
Someone is waving a Reese cup in his face, and he just can't get it.
And there was like a whole thing where like it was like a really dramatic scene where like there's like a hostage situation, but they were all in T poses, holding guns. So it was just like, don't move, he won't shoot, and like none of the characters' mouths are moving, and like the ground wasn't.
Well, I never played the game, but I have
to
seen.
break this tangent, it was a nightmare. But like he was defending it forever, and I was just looking at him like, honey. No.
Babe.
Yeah.
He went as far as to say like it's gonna be Game of the Year. I was like,
oh, not with the run Nintendo's having.
Confession. Mass Effect Andromeda was actually the first Mass Effect game that I played.
oh honey.
That's a good starting point. It only goes up.
Like
Yeah.
I know like when I played it I was like, man, this is a pretty janky game.
Yeah.
Right? For such a big producer, I was like, this is not their best quality. But I think they had such hype around it that they just crumbled under the pressure. for some strange reason.
Well, I don't even think it's that. I think it was just more of the fact that they had a lot of time put into this. Like ever since they finished 3, they were working on this.
Yeah.
The only reason it all fell apart was because they weren't done. They were almost, give them a year, it would have been done. It just wasn't done. And a lot of they had a season pass sold with it, and it was like $40, and it was like, this is going to be all of our story stuff and multiplayer, and they had one expansion, because they just stopped. They were like, not viable anymore, we're not even going to work on it. So all those people who paid $40 for one multiplayer add-on that most people aren't even going to play multiplayer anyway, got nothing. But it's like, hey, cut our losses.
That's rough. That's a rough go.
Anyway.
But with that game, I enjoyed. Maybe it was just how Mass Effect does games, but I enjoyed like the answers. Like the answers
the interactions are amazing.
Yeah,
gameplay wise, gameplay's bad, but like the story wise was good.
Yeah,
like, I'll give it that too. Oh man, absolutely. Yeah. It's just the story and communication and just talking with people is great. It's just when the game starts again, you're like, shit.
The physical actions in it, they were definitely the downfall.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the narrative. Going back to like the first point, I really enjoyed the narrative in it and the control that I had over it. And I think if I went back and I replayed like 1, 2, and 3, I would probably be able to say that Mass Effect is the worst one, but I don't have an objective basis to say that like it's not like
exactly.
the best. Whereas,
but I do agree with Quinn. Like it's probably a good place to start because now it's just up from here.
Just up from here, yeah. So when it comes,
what was that topic again?
Emotion, like it was like this was based upon like my first late like lob it up in the air so you guys could hit it out of the park.
I remember having a tangent before we started talking about Mass Effect, but I've lost it.
My question was, do you put emotional investment in things that have zero logistical value? That was my first question, and we got on Mass Effect.
Yeah, I've lost it even more. So
yeah, no, you said like people who just eat Kit Kats.
No, that was just my example. Yeah. I mean,
I don't even know what it would be for me. I think
it's fun, kind of to.
Oh yeah, well I mean. I thought when you said that, like, zero logistical value, I thought you were going to go on a different tangent of, like... So, let me pose it to you like this, then. So, you hate it when people just eat, like, a Kit Kat without breaking it apart or anything like that, right?
I mean...
Okay, as a theory, alright? Like, okay, so you hate it when people do that.
Sure.
Yeah. But if you were in a group of people who loved that, and you really didn't want them to hate you...
I would stand my ground.
Would you still stand your ground?
Feet in the ground. I wouldn't budge. Tom Petty won't back down.
That was like with me. You know what? I'll be the first to say I've never seen a single Harry Potter movie.
Really?
Nope.
Why?
Because when I was in grade 2,
I remember what my tangent was.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Well, let me do mine first.
Alright, you go ahead.
Cut you out, John. My tangent.
No, I'm just letting you know.
Cool.
I'll be coming.
Alright.
After the break.
I'll be coming. So when I was in grade 2, 2 movies came out. Fellowship of the Ring and Philosopher's Stone. When you're a kid, you get to pick one movie to see. I think I picked the good one.
You saw Fellowship.
I saw Fellowship.
Wait, time out. I mean, why did you only pick... You could only pick one movie to go see.
Well, you're a kid. It's not like you're going to be like, let's go see this movie and let's go see this movie. It's like...
I mean, you're in grade 2.
You're in grade 2.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like, you're like, I'm going to see one movie. I want to see the one with the orcs and the swords. I want to see the one with orcs and swords.
Orcs and swords.
So, I seen that, and then, like, I never really got onto the whole Harry Potter thing, because, like, me and my friends were like, oh, man, Lord of the Rings was sick.
That was one of those,
and then all my...
Mass Effect choices they give you.
Essentially, yeah. You can't go back.
Lord of the Rings, and the two options are floating in the air.
So
life pauses, you stare at them for 20 minutes and can't choose.
So that's good context of what I'm about to tell you, because I went to Florida, like, a couple years ago with my family, and we went to the Harry Potter place when it opened up. Mm-hmm. Mind you, I had no friggin' clue what I was looking at when I went in.
What the hell was that?
It looks cool, and I was just like, this is nice. Like, all right, cool. And like my brothers and stuff, they seen it, and they knew all about Harry Potter. So I was walking with my brother, and we walked by this one guy who's like, you know, he's got like a game, and he's just like, come play my game, and he has like a little megaphone, but not like a super loud megaphone, just like half quiet. Yeah. So my brother got me a butterbeer. I don't know what it was. but it was the best friggin' drink I ever had in my life. Honest to God.
It was great.
I was just like, this is, right? It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
So I was drinking it, and I was like, man, this is really good. I had a little straw, because it was like a slushie.
Yeah.
So I was drinking it with a straw, and the guy walks, and I walk past this guy, and the guy is like, oh, come play my game. And he sees me drinking it with a straw, and he calls out with, like, the intercom, and goes, drinking butterbeer with a straw, what a muggle thing to do. And I looked at him and was like, the fuck's a muggle? In the middle of Harry Potter.
That's amazing.
And I was in the middle of Harry Potter world.
The whole sea of people.
Everyone heard me.
Yeah, everyone just dropped everything. And that's like that. If that was
A
a
small
movie,
child's balloon pop.
exactly. That was exactly what I was gonna say. It pops, and then a child cries.
And ice cream fell on the floor off the cone unprovoked.
So, mind you, this is like the year it opened. So, the place is packed.
Yeah.
Everyone around me heard me.
Yeah.
I was close enough to that guy so that people on the intercom probably heard me a little bit. And I was like, the fuck's a muggle? And my brother looks at me and looks around, sees the other people, and he's like, we need to leave. And I'm like, what's a muggle?
What did I just do?
I'm like, what did I do? And he's like, we gotta go. He pulls me away, and like we walk out to like the little bridge area going to like the Lost Continent or whatever. And I'm like, the hell's a muggle? He's like, she's a non-magic user. And I was like, okay. What does that have to do with me drinking butterbeer with a
John Lee's just like, right, so everyone.
yeah, so literally everyone minus magicians. Thanks.
Everyone but David Copperfield. How's that helpful? Why do we need to distinguish those groups?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I was in a crowd of people. I had no idea what I was talking about, and I feel like I probably would have gotten lynched. But, and you know what? Still to this day, I still haven't seen the Harry Potter movie. So, but you're
Fuck is a muggle.
fuck's a muggle.
That's, you know what, during your story I couldn't help but imagine what it would be like to walk through like Disney World, but not having heard a word of Disney anything before.
What's a Disney?
Just like no, just I would
the
love
fuck
to
is
be. I would
Mickey
love
Mouse?
to be dragged around by a super fan who points at every detail.
That's
It's
gonna
like,
be me.
Wow, that's Dobby. Wow, that's Harry Potter's left shoe. Wow, that's a wand. And then you just have to like look, and I imagine everything is just like gray blobs, and you're like,
It's like when you're sitting in front of a TV with a child, and they're like, I don't know, like, look, it's the Wiggles! I love that! And you're just like, yeah. There you go.
But I feel like it would be way more concerning because you're surrounded by.
Oh yeah.
It's not one kid that is like, look, Wiggles, and
It's
you're
10,000
like,
Oh man, what if it was like? What if
it's
it was
like
you're at
it's like a diverse group.
Yeah,
It's like
so-
a whole demographic.
So
and
what if you were at like a Santa Claus meet and greet with like 1 million kids, and you were just like, you got to keep it up. And you're just like, man, I could just blow the whole fucking thing right out
And
of the
then
water.
Santa points at you and says,
all that beard right off.
Surprise, bitch!
Santa's standing by a game. He calls you out. And he's like, drinking butterbeer with a straw. What an elf thing to do. And you're like, the fuck's an elf? And thousands of 5-year-old kids are like,
I know if Santa did that to me, I'd be like, at least I'm real. What? I'm sorry, we went on a weird tangent.
That was an amazing tangent.
Do you want to go on with your
Oh
topic?
man.
I still have my tangent
Yeah.
to go. Yeah,
I'm so sorry. Go on with your topics.
I'm so sorry, but we're out of time.
Oh my.
Are we?
I don't
No,
think so.
I just made that up.
Oh yeah, no, we're
That
fine.
was for a joke.
Holy
That
frick.
was just for a joke.
It was a goof.
It was a goof.
Okay.
So, the next one.
Okay.
What that was? So that wasn't a goof. I don't get the occasion. That was a real goof.
That was my goof. So what's your tangent?
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of like what I said earlier. Where I was terrified of hating something that someone showed me. Is that like recently, especially, I've been getting called out left and right because people are recommending things to me, and I never watch them.
But they don't.
I never-
They haven't
I
known
never-
you as long as we have. So.
No, but like like some of my friends, like they'll be like, oh, this, because I'm into music and stuff, and they're like, oh, this album is really good. I think it's right up your alley. You should check it out. And I'm like, I believe you. And then
And that's it. I believe you.
and I don't know if because honestly, I only thought of it recently. I feel like I've unconsciously just not been looking things up out of fear that I'm gonna listen to it and be like, this is absolute horse shit. And then they're gonna be like, oh, so what'd you think? And I'm gonna be like, well,
Well, Jimmy.
well, I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
That's
It's
even
like
worse.
this friendship is over.
It's like if you get caught in a lie, where you're just like, "Hey man, did you watch that movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Yes.
Just don't
It's like,
lie
remember
about
that
it.
scene
Why,
with this?
Time out. Why would you lie about like?
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to break their heart.
Frig, man. Like, I don't think if I ever asked my friends like, you should really see this movie, and I said,
really
did you watch it? And they said, oh yeah, and then I'd talk about them, like I would be more offended if they lied to me compared to like saying, nah man, I haven't watched it. I'm like, all right, sick.
To be fair,
I wouldn't lie about
when we
seeing
do
it. I'd probably exaggerate if I hated it and didn't want them to hate me, and I'd say I liked it maybe a bit.
Yeah.
No,
I'm pretty sure you've said that to me.
Which I'm pretty. Like, I have no evidence to have, like, this pattern about me, because every time someone recommends something to me, like, for some reason I assume that we have been friends for years, and, like, they don't know what my tastes are. Like, I've never watched something that someone recommended and been like, this is horseshit. I hate it. Like, I do.
But didn't that happen with The Returned on Netflix? Someone said no.
No, I don't think anyone recommended that to me.
You just remember that there was an actor that you thought was like super smoke, and you tried to watch, and then you realized it was the worst thing ever created.
I hated it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which really just shows to go that I'm wrong about myself more than other people are. I should only be taking.
Really? You should only be taking
I should only be taking
recommendations.
recommendations. You know,
Yeah.
when I go on a whim, like it usually misfires.
Usually doesn't end well.
The risk I took is calculated, but you're just really bad at math.
More or less, yeah. Like
Yeah.
The Return was awful.
Oh man.
I couldn't even watch it as like it's so bad it's good. Like I watched the show The Mist on Netflix.
Yeah.
Recently canceled.
Really?
So I watched the first episode. It was bad, but it was so funny.
Can I? So you only watched the first episode?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
so
hilarious.
am I in it?
No, I don't know.
Oh, damn.
I don't.
What?
They didn't even get to the convenience. Actually, no, what I did watch. I watched 2 episodes. They didn't even get to like the convenience store like they do in
That's
the movie.
weird.
Tell me that. What the frick do you mean? Are you in it?
Oh, I'm in the mist.
The Stephen King's novel The Mist that was turned into a movie.
The older one.
There's a famous line, and by famous I mean we know it really well, where there. Well, do you know The Mist?
Kind of.
Okay,
Okay, so
Not
there's like a mist.
extensively.
There's like mist, and there's shady stuff in it when people go into the mist. They
So
die.
all these people are stuck in this little department store, and they gotta like work together to like just keep all the stuff out of the little department store. But at the front is just like all glass panes, so like you can only see what's out there. But again, there's mist, so you only see it when it's really close up. So the first time the mist starts coming in, like one little like old man walks out.
Yeah, this elderly guy.
And just walks out by himself, mind you. He's just like, oh, check shit out. So he walks out.
well,
and then he, like,
it's early on.
yeah, it's like the
They don't
first
know.
time. Yeah, it's the first time anything really big happens. So they walk out, and then he comes back, and he's just like, and he comes in like, oh my god, old man Abernathy, what's happening? And they like shut the door behind him, and he looks at me, and he's like, something in the mist. It took John Lee, and I'm like, whoa, what?
Yo, back up!
Whoa, I'm still here.
Because I think we were watching it when it happened. We were like, whoa, what? Like I think it was like me, you, Christian. It was like for Bad Movie Night. When we
Yeah, it
used
was
to do
like
that.
me, you, Connor.
It was like a huge group of us.
We were a whole group of us.
And the whole, and like I was sitting in the back, and like it was like uniform. So like Mr. took John Lee. They all turned around like, what? And I'm like, I'm fine. Don't worry.
Still here, guys.
I'm still here, guys. So I was just curious if they did the line again.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So if you're ever curious about what happened to John Lee in the Mist, he's fine.
It's fine. He's in
He got
You
better.
survived, yeah.
He got better.
He's in Newfoundland.
He's still in the mist.
Where there is mist.
He's still in the
Yes.
Mist.
Still in the mist.
Technically, we're still. Yeah.
All right.
Enough tangents.
Yeah.
Enough tangents.
Let's
It's
go on
over.
to your
Tangents over.
Next
Tangent
point.
time over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logic versus rationality.
All right. I guess that's
Those are-
so that's the episode.
those are-
Thank you for listening.
This is gonna be.
I'm
This is
kidding.
gonna be the obviously wrong thing to say, but those are synonyms.
No, they're not.
Yes. Nailed it again.
So,
I was right. I was wrong.
what I've come to learn about logic and rationality is that rationality is very, very similar to logic. It's a building block off of logic. Rationality is the social construction in which we extrapolate logic to fit our needs as a culture. Right? So think about when you say, well, that's completely irrational, right? It's about a certain pattern.
Depends where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? It's completely irrational for someone to marry 4 wives here, per se, in this culture, in a monogamous dominated culture. Whereas in another culture, it's common practice to just have 4 wives. Like if I came to you guys and said, yeah, my third wife's being a real bitch lately. You guys will just be caught up on the fact that I just said third wife.
Well, first
It's
I'd say nice. Second, I'd be like, what's up? You have 3?
right? So that defies our rationality.
That's just me.
Like that defies our rationality of what we think is like a mindset that we all agree with, whereas logic is a fundamental thought process.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's like, don't go too far out in a pond or you'll drown.
Yeah, that's like a fair thing that's
Right?
pretty accepted in every culture.
Right? It's like avoid danger,
Don't
you know?
put your head in a crocodile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't walk out into traffic.
Yeah, don't watch
Walk out into
Don't
traffic.
watch the Transformer Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
Continue.
So
Not gonna let
subtle
anyone
dig.
stop that.
Subtle dig.
Don't eat the Kit Kat like it's a regular chocolate bar. Break it into 2 pieces. You savage.
Or 4.
Or 4.
Whatever you do.
Well, if it's Kit Kat Chunky, it's just 1 bar, so that one is safe, I think.
There's a little thing in the middle,
Is there?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll break those in half.
if you can. You need to be like a Herculean strongman to break those. Go on.
True story. So you guys do agree with the fact that logic and rationality are
Yeah,
different.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is good, because that was like a big question, because I figured that both of you would probably have different views. I figured that you would be like, well, logic and rationality, and when I say you, I mean you, Quinn, because this is not a visual medium and they can't see who I'm pointing to.
That's fine.
You're right. I can.
It's just
Yeah.
better to call you out by
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, okay.
Just feels
Whereas
better.
I can see you
You quit. Oh my god, what'd I do?
saying that, no, they're the exact same thing, and I can also see you, John Lee, say that, oh no, they're 2 different things. So I'm actually kind of surprised that you guys both agreed with me on the fact that they're 2 separate things, because currently in one of my classes we've been using the term non-rational instead of irrational,
Yeah.
right, to describe certain mindsets and patterns of thinking.
Because non-rational just implies that there's no rationality involved at
Yeah,
all.
basically, like, it's-
irrational. It's just like you have it, it's just in the wrong place.
Exactly, and that's what because I would only ever think about rationality as rational and irrational, not
Yeah.
as the third dimension of just non-rational, just
Not there at all.
thinking about it because they don't know about it, right?
And there could be a concept of non-rational because it's just someone doesn't know about it yet.
Well, the class I'm talking about is like a religious studies class, and it's talking about like divinity and like creator figures. Like it's not irrational to think that, but it's not rational, so therefore it's best to just call it non-rational.
Yeah.
Because we don't have
You don't have any context or anything about
Yeah.
it. You only have like what people have been saying for years.
like extrapolations of like individual expression of what that is, right?
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting because to me it was always irrational, rational, and it was that was it.
There was a 2-way street. That's it.
Cool. I'm glad.
Well,
Here we go.
It's like this.
well, no, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna disagree with you. I'm just gonna say like a couple weeks from now, like I don't know, someone's gonna do something wacky, and if I were to say, like defining rationality and logic, this is a completely pointless tangent, but like defining like rationality and
stopped us
logic
before.
for the sake of this conversation, I can see what you're talking about, but like, you know, when I walk out into the forest later, like I do, like I'm not really, it's not gonna stick with me really, because
You drove here.
I did. I don't know what I'm saying. Honestly, I've kind of lost my own tangent here. My point was like, you know, things like rationality and logic, they are very similar, and you would only like really need to distinguish them if you're gonna have like the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
And when you define them in that context, it's like, yeah, okay, cool, but like, you know, if I go out into the world and something wacky happens, I was like, well, that was irrational, and someone corrected me, I'd be like, fuck off. Like,
It would have been a lot more interesting if you had like a conversation set with someone where they were actually like acting out like that, and then towards like a breaking point, just be like, you know the difference between irrational and rational, right? And it's just like, what? What are you?
Yeah.
Stop it!
because I mean,
Damn it!
when we have like not like a range,
You're
but
being
like
non-rational. Irrational. What?
Frick!
Damn it.
effect, not affect. When we have like arranged conversations like these, I do like the idea of like you set some parameters. You know, like when you get into like, especially when you get to like controversial territory, you kind of set up like, okay, this term means this term means this term means this. Like, you don't want to have miscommunication so that the larger point gets lost because of that kind of thing. But like later on, when I'm playing Mario Odyssey and something wacky happens, I'm not going to be like, logical is this and rationality is based on culture, and Mario's culture, don't know what it is.
It's wherever he is, whatever he's wearing.
It's whoever he possesses this time.
Yeah. Took me a long time to get there for that
It's fine.
It was a
It's
long
not about
journey.
the destination.
It's about the
About
journey.
the journey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
100%.
So, probably my final discussion
That's good.
proposition.
We're good. We're good for
Okay.
one more.
The title for this section I called is just "God is Dead."
Oh my god, it's got a title.
Well, thanks for joining us.
This is going to be its own episode.
Next you'll see Weekend Fan Club. God is dead. Have a good night.
Have a cool Saturday. Put on your Reebok shoes.
Yeah.
Don't know where that
Go
line
on.
came from, but
So basically, my personal background was, it's pretty inextricably related with religion because that was the way I was like brought up. My parents are pretty religious. Shout out to mom and dad, you're pretty cool.
what's up? Parents are rad.
Yeah. But currently with my like education, there's a lot of courses that have a very negative viewpoint on religion, and I also have a negative per se viewpoint on religion. I don't have a negative viewpoint on like spirituality and faith-based ideologies. I view religion, the social construct, as a negative thing, right? So what I want to talk about is the phrase "God is dead" was like famously made by Friedrich Nietzsche, who was affectionately called the Antichrist.
Oh.
Basically,
Affection.
because he
like a
wrote
nice boy.
he wrote an essay called "The Antichrist," and it talked about like
Affectionately.
Cool.
key point affectionately called the Antichrist. He wrote the essay about how there was only ever one true Christian, and that was Christ, right?
Okay.
And it's basically discussing that, you know, Christianity has lost all of its meaning because it involves humanity and the flawed nature of humanity, and the fact that it could never reach its full divine potential because it involves fallible people, right? But what I want to talk about with this relationship is the current political climate.
Sorry. I thought it was something very funny.
Okay, go ahead. Let's. Before we got Derek,
I really thought you were gonna build up this whole fucking story and just be like, so what I want to talk about is, what is your favorite vegetable? Like, just totally like curveball.
just throw it up.
I was so sure you were just gonna be like Spyro or Crash Bandicoot.
Potato. Go on.
My question for you guys is, with the current political climate in the United States that we don't really get to experience daily, but we see it in media, with religious leaders being more and more vehemently related with xenophobia, sometimes racism, and, you know, sexism. The phrase "God is dead." Has religion become the way to control the masses to an even more extreme extent, to where it's now discriminatory and segregating and just downright evil? Or is there still some merit to religion?
If
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, like let's break it down real slow.
I'll answer your question with a question. Do you know what the 40-year theory is?
The 40-year?
Yes.
No, I don't know what
Okay.
that theory is.
It's mostly a term that I like to think of in film.
It's a Steve Carell movie.
Really?
No.
40-year version.
No. I wish it was that easy. It's basically the theory that every 40 years, civilization, as in humanity, just likes to rehash old ideas. And I say that because I base it a lot to movies, because you see a lot of we just had like now we have like Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast came back.
Right. Yeah.
It's just stuff like that. What came out 40 years ago?
It was like the animated ones.
The original Disney ones, right? Like came out.
It wasn't 40 years.
Well, it's like
no, but you know what I mean.
Around the theory,
that
I get like you
ballpark.
you create something and then you keep
it comes back again, right? Like for film, it's something like, okay, it's been 40 years. Let's do Wizard of Oz again. Like, all right, guys.
Yeah.
What came out in the 70s? Star Wars.
Right.
2010s. What's going on now? We're bringing Star Wars back again. Now I know before it was just like the 2000s was the prequels.
Cool. We don't have to.
You know what I
about
mean?
those.
Anyway, what I'm saying is that like I thought about recently how a 40-year mark could bring back ideas as well, as in like ideologies and cultures, and like you were bringing up. I'm thinking 40 years ago it was like the 70s, and that was when even here in like Newfoundland, where everything was church based, so all the schools here even still have like, you know, St. Peter's and, you know, all these church related names. Even like the school buildings themselves still have like a cross on them, even though we've completely segregated from church and school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just a thing now where like it's been gone for so long and we've been trying to get rid of it, and now it's trying to come back again. But as it's coming back,
we're bringing back.
Well, the thing is
the bad stuff.
Well, the bad stuff with it, but where now, back then we were a lot less diverse.
Yeah.
But now you have so many cultures and diversities in one spot, and with religion coming back, you have not just one.
Yeah.
That was overall. Now you have all these other ones that are coming in, and that could get confused with, like you said, xenophobia or racism can all come back, and because one thing's trying to come back, and the people who were there when it happened 40 years ago were like, this is what it was like back in the good old day. What's that over there? Like, this is just completely different now. So now it's just a huge mess. And I do agree with you. I don't like religion, but I agree with like. If I was gonna say my backstory, not backstory, but like my opinion on the whole thing, I don't care. As long as you're not being a dick, I don't care what you do. Yeah. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not being an asshole. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like that's a very like lax tone, but I mean it strongly. Like, if you come up to me and be like, I'm part of the Church of Satan, Friday's poker night, sounds good.
Yeah.
You do you. Whatever makes... But I also see a reason why you need, like, religion and stuff, because they do good work for communities, but I feel like that's just a thing that people should do anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for you to just be like, oh, we're a church. Come in. We'll feed... We'll you know, take care of your sick and, you know, feed your hungry. I feel like people should just be like that anyway.
Yeah.
You should just have a place like that to be like, you know, help out people. I mean, we do, but you know what I mean? Mostly it's just like nuns.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My big thing is like, as a person that's still trying to practice the Christian religion, it's hard for me to tell people that I'm a Christian because of the stuff that's being spread through media.
Yeah.
About all these crazy pastors that have perverted...
Oh, like the televangelists?
Televangelism and like homophobia and just I'm gonna break one of the rules and say like just completely irrational thought.
Nice.
About like the way the world works, like denying climate change and denying evolution, like stuff that's fundamentally understood by the masses, but it's still being opposed by religion because it's not
That's the thing.
written in the
Yeah.
thing we base it on, so therefore it can't be true. And it's hard for me to, say that I'm the same
But you're
per
not.
se.
Yeah.
Per se, I am the same because I would still take the same label. But I'm not the same because obviously I believe in evolution because that's science.
Yeah.
There's evidence.
It's there, yeah.
It's there. There's proof, and we can see it. And it's hard for me to take that label because of all the crazy stuff. And for me, the phrase "God is dead" is so much of a metaphor for progression is dead, and thought process is dead, and discussion is dead, and like all these things that I think are important.
It's like ever since we had like media and able to get all this information out at once at any time, it's not about the individual anymore. It's just the group.
Yeah.
So
whatever label it is.
Yeah. So before, like, I'll use like, I don't know, like Anglican, and you know what I mean. Like it was like you couldn't marry into one family because like they're the same but they're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a very small way of looking at it. But then there's also like a guy coming out and just saying like, yeah, man, I'm Catholic, and it's like, oh, you practice religion. What? We were gonna ask you to go out and have fun, but like it's on a Saturday night. Like you don't want to go.
Yeah.
We were gonna do blow off hookers' asses. no, whoa! No Catholic ever wanted to do that.
That's at least 6 of the 7 deadly sins.
Or just, you know what? Instead of doing 1-on-1, just fucking write them all off in one day. That's fine. I'll just say like 30 Hail Marys when I come home. Fuck it.
I haven't spoken in quite a while.
You're just trying to... Because with me, I hear a topic and I'm trying to get my thoughts out, but then thoughts to words do not translate.
I'm so backed up now. I've just been listening like, oh yeah, I could say anything there. Oh, I could say anything there. Oh, but I've still got those other ones backed up. I'll just say.
What do you think?
Give me a starting point. I can't just jump in.
Do you think that Christianity has lost its fundamental part, which is, love thy neighbor? Just the fundamental principle about Christianity is about loving other people. Do you think, as a whole, Christianity has lost that?
No.
You don't think so? Okay.
Do you want me to elaborate?
Yeah, because that was my first question for you to elaborate on why.
I found like religion and stuff very cool recently, to be honest. Just like, because I don't want to say it's all made up, but like it's all based on it's all based on people just like whatever you want to believe. Like it's kind of like it's kind of like art in a way to me. Where like
where you can take your own ideas from it.
You can take your own
Funny
ideas.
enough, I'm taking a class specifically called Religion and the Arts, and one of the main course objectives is trying to see the distinction between religion and art and coming to the conclusion that they are very much the exact same thing, because it is all about heavy interpersonal interpretation.
Like you surround yourself with people that like the same things the same way you would surround yourself with people that believe similar things as you. And so, and like there is a lot of frustration, I would say, with like the labels, especially, like being like, I'm a Christian, and people are like, you hate fun with that.
Yeah, like you hate gays, then it's like, whoa!
Which because the thing is too, like in high school, I read and got really into this one essay that talked a lot about
you showed me that.
About how religion should be more of an individual thing, which like I didn't agree with it 100%, because I think a lot of the point of religion is the social aspect of like being around like-minded people, building like the community, like you said, doing like work for it and stuff. And but I do think the individual part of religion gets overlooked a lot, because like at the end of the day, if you like read the Bible and you're like, great book, I loved all of it, but page 37, fuck that, I'm not on board with that. Like otherwise, we're pretty crispy. Like I think that's fine, and I think people need to like just be aware of that, I guess.
No.
More so than they are, because
Yeah.
like, and it goes for other things too. Like you can be like, yeah, man, I freaking love Harry Potter movies, and then it's like, oh yeah, Order of the Phoenix was great, and you'd be like, fuck Order of the Phoenix though. Sorry, I should have said that up front. I hate that one. Like, you know, like it's whatever you want. And I mean, like, I know, like in the run of a day, like I don't know why my example is Twitter, but like, you know, you only get 140 characters. Sometimes you don't always have time to be like, I'm Christian, but, and then like 37 asterisks. Like, you know, sometimes you just kind of get, like, there's a point to having labels, and like they're helpful. But when you take that and that's the only thing you have and you hold on to it really tightly, like, you miss a lot of shit. Like, you know.
I feel you. I remember I was having this conversation with someone a couple years ago, like this, and one of the things that they said was just like, the reason why religion was ever a thing to begin with was because shit sucked back in the day, bro.
Yeah.
Like, life sucked. You died at like 40.
If you were lucky.
If you were lucky. If you worked hard
If the
and
blind didn't eat your ass.
If you didn't get super AIDS, like if you didn't get like the worst diseases ever, you were lucky if you made it to like 35, 40 max. But like, what I'm trying to say is that like my friend, the guy I was talking to about this was just like, life sucked and was super negative. Wouldn't it be great if someone was just like, yeah, but like, put in that hard work, there's something good for you at the end of it. It's like, what? Are you serious? What's that? Check this book out.
Yeah, I mean, like that.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, that just, maybe it's just a fandom gone crazy.
Well, I would say that's
not my view. I'm just saying that's what the person said.
I know, but like, I think there is something to that in the sense of how, like, you know, like, people kind of care less about religion than they used to, obviously, but I think that it's it's not because of fandoms, but I think it's because there's just more shit for you to like bond with people over than there used to be. Like, before you had like, do you have a farm? It's like, no. Well, what can we talk about? Religion. Okay, cool. You know, like, but now it's like, have you seen all 800 Marvel movies? And it's like, yes, I have. Let's talk about them at length. You know, like, there's other shit to connect with people about. There's other like you know, like you said, like, religion, it is like a vessel to give people hope. Like, that would probably be like the main point of it for me.
And that's what I'm saying. That's a good
hope
thing.
And it's comfort. It's like in a vacuum, it's only good. It's only goods, you know, like. But now I feel like.
But now it's like we have so many goods.
There's so many other goods. There's so many other like things that you can look at that give you hope. And even like, for me, I love just stupid shit, right? Like, like
the dumbest shit.
Just the dumbest shit. Like,
just a waste of my life.
Like in high school, I went through this wave where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna own the shit out of Valentine's Day.
You did.
Because I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna celebrate all the shit I love. I'm gonna drink Coca-Cola. I love Coca-Cola. I love it. Tastes great. I'm gonna play Super Mario World. Fucking love that game.
Sponsors Coca-Cola.
I love Super Mario. Like, dumb shit like that. like, yo, do you believe in God? Does that give you hope? And I'm like, no, Mario does. like, joking, not joking. Like, like, it's dumb shit. Like I just saw.
Are you saying we need to start a church of Coca-Cola and Mario?
Oh boy.
I would join that in a heartbeat. Like, if I saw a poster for that, I would like rip it off the wall, find who put it up, and be like,
yes.
Kick a door down, be like, who put this up? And then
have you seen this, man?
Kick a door down. I object. This isn't a wedding.
Yeah. Well, it's. I'm very glad. Like, I got to see another point of view, especially your guys' point of view, because I usually ask this to my friends that are also Christians.
Yeah.
So it's very important for me to get people that are, I wouldn't say non-believers as like a segregating term, but people that like don't practice the same.
What is the term of someone who just doesn't give a shit?
Agnostic.
That's what. Okay, because I heard that term before, but I thought that was like, I don't have enough information to decide yet.
Yeah, that's
that
agnostic.
sounds like,
well, some people use it for that, like, you know, like oh, have you decided on a religion? It's like, later, I have like so many things.
Well,
to
yeah,
do.
that's the thing. But
it's on the list, but let me get to it. I've watched Stranger Things
I'm
first.
kind of like, I'm kind of like half agnostic, half atheist, because it's like, yes, I don't have enough information to make a decision, but if like Jesus were to rise tomorrow, I'd be like, I don't care.
Okay.
Like I'd be like,
Like,
alright,
You're like a
whatever.
50-50
like,
atheist
yeah, I'm like
agnostic.
thinking about that like
Whatever.
sometimes because like
Cool.
I feel like some days I feel very atheist, and it's kind of a bummer not to like dump on any atheists, but like sometimes I'm like, why would there even be an afterlife? That makes sense. like sometimes I just like and you know, probably I'm thinking in the direction where I want to end up there, but like other times I think in the direction that I want to end up the other way, and I'm like,
yeah.
and thing is too, at the end of the day, you just don't. There's no point. You just don't know. Like,
I mean, I'm technically labeling when I say, because when I think atheist, I just think of someone like, God is dead, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But I don't think that. I think atheist is just someone who's just like.
That doesn't. That like they think like. Okay,
I wouldn't even
so
say
I'm not
that
gonna-
aggressive. Like, he's waving his middle finger around. By the way, like I wouldn't even say
I was
that.
trying to think of a word.
Like sometimes I think it's like just a slightly more decided agnostic.
Yeah.
Where it's just
Yeah,
like,
that's a pretty good way to
probably
think
not.
The way like I think of it, if Jesus like just blew open the sky and like all these scriptural things started to happen,
Come
I'm
on, boys.
like I'd be like, sick, I'm coming with you, man. Lub-a-dub-a-dub-dub. Like I would be hyped.
What about was right?
Yeah. But like if I just died and that was the end of my existence, like yeah,
I'd be
okay.
pretty upset.
All right.
Okay, like
Yeah.
like because I'm living my life now. Like I don't want to say I'm trying to get into heaven, but like the way you get into heaven is described as like just being like a good dude.
Yeah.
Like I will die happy because I was a good dude, so I'm trying to be a good dude.
Yeah.
So when I think back, I'm not gonna be like, well, I was an asshole. Time to go to heaven. Like
And I mean,
don't
like, you know, if heaven is like that's what I think about religion. Like, if heaven is the motivator that drives you to be good, then cool. Or like if Ryan Gosling is the motivator that drives you to be cool, like that too. Like,
Yeah.
fuck it, you know?
Mother Teresa? Nah. Ryan Gosling? Sure.
Like sure, like
Who the hell though?
Well, that was an episode.
It was. It definitely was.
I'm glad it wasn't all heavy sledding. Like I was
Yeah.
concerned that this is just gonna be a real dry.
Honestly,
episode.
so was I.
Yeah.
I was
I was
like,
a little concerned. Well, I was a little concerned I wouldn't laugh as much as usual, but
yeah, well,
I found the places.
it was.
I found the wrong places.
It's not about the journey. It's about the destination.
It's about the destination.
Even though earlier I
We
used,
said
it's not
the
about
complete
destination,
opposite.
it's the journey. It's a great saying.
Oh, you
'cause
know
it
what?
works
I
both
had another
ways.
thing to say.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was you that shared this, but I think it was. But I saw an article. I don't know why I clicked on it at the time, but it was an article about how like this Christian movie, this like decidedly Christian movie had just come out, but also Logan had just come out. And the article was talking about how the Christian movie was a worse movie at
Yes.
being a Christian movie than Logan was.
share that. Yes.
oh my God!
I did.
Really?
I was absolutely thrilled to see that come across my feed that day because
so
it was
cool.
Yeah, but it was a
such
great article.
thought-provoking
Yeah.
It was a great article because
sick.
it really, because I had thought about how religion, you can look at religion and kind of interpret it different ways, but I hadn't thought about how you could look at something else and interpret it into a religious kind of way. Like even
Yeah.
if it wasn't,
That's how
even
I
if
see
it
the
didn't,
world, man.
even if it
That's so
didn't
cool.
deliberately have like religious signifiers
Yeah.
in it. And
You
I mean
can-
like
you can
religious. I
find
don't
it.
even mean like spiritual. Like sometimes you like watch a movie and you're like, man, you went on a totally like spiritual journey, like his soul changed, dude. Like, whoa. He used to be lavender, now he's like teal. Whoa. You know, like, but like to look at like Logan and be like, yeah, man, he's a good Samaritan, like cool. And like I haven't done that with any movie, but like I do think the article is right. Like Logan is a great example of that, and like that other movie
I'll have to check that out.
totally
That
seems
sounds
like a
really
bummer.
cool.
But like,
I think I saved it in my like
Man.
Facebook
yeah.
saved document, so
I'll
I might
check it.
look
That's
through it.
fucking- That's really cool. That's super cool. We can agree on one thing though.
What?
Can we all agree on one thing?
You don't eat the Kit Kat bar like it's one bar. You have to break it into two pieces.
That.
That. Okay.
But like, you know, Nazis suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wolfenstein was right.
Well, I only bring this up because we were playing Call of Duty earlier.
Yeah, you're right. That was
Yeah.
wow. The new Nazi time was terrifying.
That was
Truly terrifying.
Oh my
Like,
god,
truly.
that was.
They brought back the
scary.
spooky
Oh yeah.
in a big way.
Like, I remember we were looking at, like, the renders from the loading screen, and we were just like, haha, look at that goofy-looking guy, and then the next one was like, oh.
Well, yeah,
I'm scared now.
We both looked at one and we were like, man, he's got some teeth. And then, like, it pans a little bit, and then you see there's, like, he's got, like, another head attached on his back.
And it's like,
And
oh
we're
my
like,
god.
Like, it was very much just like, aren't you silly? Oh, God, no, you're not.
Well, aren't you a silly goose?
Yeah, this is gonna be, like, our longest episode yet. It's only episode 2.
Well,
Boss us low bar.
Over.
well, that's been the weekend fan club.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening.
thank you.
You're an hour closer to your weekend.
Hour and
You're like an hour and 40 now.
Fuck a doodle do.
Fuck a doodle do indeed, Quinn. Fuck a doodle do.
Da-ya-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.